Hello everyone, it's Karen again today. Today I have help doing my presentation. My little sister Brenda's here. She cleans my house. So we was talking about, we've got a birthday coming up and he likes a sheet cake with white icing, and I don't do sheet cake, or the Texas sheet cake very well. That's what we're going to do today. So it's going to be dual people here. She's going to do the icing, which I always fail on with this cake. So she's going to be doing that presentation while I'm telling you how to do this real quick. I've got started out with 2 cups of flour. I went ahead and sifted mine. This is the Texas sheet cake. It goes in a sheet pan. I got 2 cups of sugar. I'm going to pour this in here. We're going to mix this together real good. This makes a pretty big cake too. I've never been one that did very good on these Texas sheet cakes, so hopefully this one will turn out. And I definitely don't do good on that boiled icing stuff. And now, I don't know why, I just don't. So I sifted my 2 cups of flour and I poured my 2 cups of sugar in here. I wasn't going to do anything today, but then she come, and after, she is a wonderful housekeeper. My house smells so good when she gets done. Boy, the floors, I just feel like I'm going to slip on them and fall, but no, they're just pretty. But if you know you're getting old when you're scared you're going to fall and break your hip. That's a good sign you're getting some age on you. And I'm getting some age on me anyway. All right, I got my 2 cups of flour and my 2 cups of sugar incorporated. In that, I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. That's just a little, or not sugar, excuse me, salt. That's just a little dot. 1/4, so we're not going to put much salt in that. 1/4 of table salt. Put it right in there. We're going to incorporate that too. Now, in this particular recipe, we don't use baking powder. We're going to use baking soda, and like I've explained to you before, they both kind of do the same job, all right? But because this is going to be a sheet cake, we're going to be using the baking soda, so there'll be no baking powder in this recipe. Now, we're going to set that aside. Now, over here in this saucepan, I've already got this going. In my saucepan, I've got a stick of butter and 1 cup of water and 3 tablespoons of Hershey's cocoa, or whatever kind of cocoa you want. I've got this heating. So we're going to bring this up to a heat, and we're going to, once it gets all incorporated and it starts getting warm, we're going to pour this into the mixture and mix it well. While I'm waiting for that to happen, I've got 2 eggs in a bowl. And I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Like I said, it's calling for baking soda this time around, not baking powder, and you will find that in some recipes. And this is one recipe you're going to find it is. We're going to do a teaspoon of baking soda. But we're not going to add it yet. So the only ingredients in this dry ingredient, let's go over this again, is going to be 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to incorporate that together, just mixing it up. The baking soda we will not put in yet. It goes towards the end. We've got 2 eggs. We're not going to put that in either. And you slide them, or you beat them slightly. So I've got my 2 eggs beat slightly. I'm going to set those to the side too. It also calls for a 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Guess what? I don't have no buttermilk. This was on the spur of the moment. We were talking about sheet cakes, and I have a birthday coming up. He likes sheet cakes, and Brenda said, well, I'll help you with one. So I took milk, and I've got a cup here. We're only going to use a 1/2 cup of this. And I incorporate, I put a cup of milk, and I put about a tablespoon of vinegar in this milk, and I've let it set. And as you can tell, this is getting thick. It's not as thin as normal milk would be. So once I put that vinegar in there and let it sit, it started getting kind of a thickness to it. So I am actually creating my own buttermilk. And this recipe calls for buttermilk. So I had to go the old-fashioned, if you don't have buttermilk, create our own buttermilk. Isn't that weird? See, it's just getting a thickness to it like buttermilk would. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? So we're going to only use a half a cup of that, but we're not going to use it right now. I also have vanilla, which we're not going to put in until the end of this too. And we're going to use a teaspoon of vanilla, okay? So my a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks, a cup of water, and 3 tablespoons of cocoa. I made them. I didn't worry if they were level or not. I don't think you can get enough cocoa. So I put them in there, and it's beginning to get hot. I'm not going to boil it. I'm just going to get it nice and hot, and then I'm going to incorporate that in our mixture. So I'm ready to go. Looks like old-fashioned cocoa. Did you guys ever have old-fashioned cocoa? Your mom make it with just milk and plain old cocoa and lots of sugar. It's good. Had it lots of times. I'm going to pour this into our mixture like that. I'm going to take a spoon and I'm not going to take my mixture yet because I don't want flour everywhere. So I'm taking a spoon first. And we're going to mix this together. Now after the icing, after you put this cake in the oven, 10 minutes after it's cooked, and I've got my oven turned on, by the way, to 400. I've got it incorporated now. And this is where I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. Okay? We're going to go ahead and add our teaspoon of baking soda, our half a cup of homemade buttermilk. This is a half a cup of our homemade butter. See how thick that pours? Right on in there. Have to put that up, maybe have to use that for something, buttermilk pancakes or something. Go ahead and we're going to incorporate that together. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm going to put my eggs in last and my vanilla. Why? Because I don't want my eggs to cook. So we're going to do that. And as you can tell that baking soda is working. It gets a fluffy to it. I'm going to see if I can let you see that. Kind of gets a fluffy to it. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate that. And now here goes my eggs. 2 slightly beaten eggs after you've cooled that down. That's just going to be by stirring. And I'm just going to slowly pour my 2 eggs in this. Just slowly, just so they don't. And then we're going to go ahead and put the vanilla in. Hope this turns out, guys. And we measured the other day, and if you go all the way to the top, that is your teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to mix it again. And I will post this on this video once I get it done. Let you see how it looks. And I'm going to have to go get my housekeeper here in a minute, get her in the kitchen to get this icing started. Alright, I've got just a little bit of baking soda left in this. I left behind. I'm going to put in there. I always get my ingredients and measure them first. Not just for this show. I just like doing that. Because you know what? Sometimes if you get a phone call or something happens, you run off, you've forgotten what you put in there. Well, I always pre-measure my stuff and have it sitting right here. So I'm not doubling up on the baking powder or putting another teaspoon of salt in there. So I don't do it for the programs. I do it all the time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get my mixer out. We're going to mix this. It's a pretty thin batter, that's okay. It's going to be kind of thin looking. And I'm not going to mix this a lot. Mix them enough to incorporate everything together good. Just about like that. See how thin that is? It's thinner than what your cake mix would be, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure it will still turn out. All right, that's ready to go in the sheet pan. There's my sheet pan. All right, I've already oiled this, and I've went ahead and dusted it with flour. And what I do is just put quite a bit of flour on the bottom, and I just go all over, and then I go to the trash, you know. So I went ahead and dusted my sheet cake. So we're going to pour this in here, and we're going to hope for the best. All over even. See how thin that is? When you're used to those box cakes and you mix them up and they're thick, you kind of think this isn't going to work. So we're just going to go ahead and grab this, and let's just use our spatula to get the rest of this out. Okay? There it is. Boy, cross your fingers on this one for me. Now, my mom years ago, I don't know if you guys with moms ever did this, she would go like this. That was just to level it out. And of course, it all depends on your oven too. I don't know how many people actually take a level and start leveling their oven to see if it's even or not. I mean, you can, but I don't. So my oven actually doesn't cook completely level. It's a little off, but it's not so off that it's going to matter a whole lot. So we got this ready to go in the oven, and we're going to cook it 10 minutes, and then we're going to start that icing, and I'm going to get the ingredients ready for that icing, and then it's on the top icing. You're going to boil the icing, and what happens when you get this cake out hot, like a lot of your icings, you let your cake cool completely. And honestly, what I do, I will even put my cake in a freezer, and I will let it freeze, and then I get it out, and then I will decorate it. That's how I like to do mine. And cakes that are frozen are very good, and it just keeps all the problems that you get with a warm cake, you know. Makes it easier for me to decorate, but I'm not a decorator, you know. But that's how I do. So I've got my oven, I've got it turned up. I'm going to turn it down. I've preheated it to 400, but I'm going to turn that down to about 340, 350. Let's do it on 350. I'm getting ready to stick that in the oven for us. We're going to need a saucepan for the icing. Okay, I got to time this. So in 10 minutes, we are to start this icing to pour over this cake. Now, Brenda, my housekeeper, wrote it down real big for me. Look at that. There's that a sister for you. I had it right on here, but she went ahead and wrote it down for me. Isn't that sweet? Okay, this icing, we're going to make the white icing for the Texas sheet cake. Normally, a lot of people like the chocolate icing with nuts poured on it, okay? But the request was for white icing, so we're going to do the white icing for it. And it's going to be a half a stick of butter, 1/3 cup regular milk, 4 cups powdered sugar, which reminds me, I think I better get a bigger saucepan than that. I better go with the next size, huh? And we're going to use 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So we're going to boil the milk and the butter together. And then when it gets hot, we're going to pour the powdered sugar on it, and then we're going to add the vanilla at the very end. And then we're going to pour it on top of our hot cake. So that's what this icing is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead for Brenda, measure out the powdered sugar. You sure want this cake to turn out because you're using a lot of ingredients. So we're going to use about 2 cups. Oh, let me take a little bit of that out. Let me go ahead and take a little bit of my powdered sugar out. That's a little bit more than what we need. I don't think it would hurt if you did. I'm going to put it right back into my bath. Just like that. We cook just old country style, don't we? This is how country people do it around here. Pat that down. Okay, that's 2 cups. And I've just screwed up. It actually said 4 cups. Oh, here I go again. We're going to go right back to the beginning. I'm going to pour this back in here. And I am going to have to add actually more powdered sugar to this. There's no way of really cutting this recipe on this icing in half either. So we're going to go ahead and do our 4 cups powdered sugar because of my bloop. Ooh, that's a lot of powdered sugar. Should be nice and sweet. As you can tell, if you've watched me cooking, I save all these things. They make good canisters. Good garbage. Put your garbage in, take out to the wildlife and feed them. They just make wonderful canisters. Put my powdered sugar on that in here, then put my lid on it. Can't beat it. It's going to be 1/3 cup of milk. Rinse my tub out and get the milk out. 1/3. I hear her coming. I'm getting it all measured out for her. 1/3 cup milk.
I'm not going to be on camera. I am hot. Remember?
It's no. 1/3 cup. There's our 1/3 cup milk right here. Getting it all ready. This is going to consist, by the time you get done with this cake, you've got 1.5 cups of butter, and the butter is included with the icing. I got this. It's a 1/2 cup. I'm going to have 2 of these because these was cut. It's going to be, I get 1 more. So we've got our 1/2 cup of butter in here. Melting. Got our 1/4 cup milk and our icing, and our vanilla, we'll put that on the very end of it. Okay, we've got about almost time to start this icing. And Brenda doesn't want to be on video, so I'm going to have to grab her real quick and say, get in here and start cooking the icing. I don't know why she don't want to be on video. She's awful pretty. She needs to be on video. A lot prettier than I am. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back in a flash. I got to grab the person that is actually going to do one of the most important parts of this video, and that is to make the perfect icing for it. It's about 10 minutes, so we need to get started on this. I'll be right back. Hang in there with me. This is live. This is actually how we all cook. You all know that. We get interrupted. We go here. We go there. We do. This is what almost everybody does, is us. This is what happens. Me, you, everyone. We get interruptions. So hang in there. I'll be right back. No, come on. She's coming. I caught her in the bathroom, so she's going to wash her hands. And I said, come on, the cake's been in there 10 minutes. I can't afford to screw this cake up as much ingredients as I got in this. Have you ever had a Texas sheet cake? It is really good. It really is. I'm not really a baker. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really don't bake that much. I can cook savory foods pretty darn good. And I do have my homemade spaghetti sauce I'm going to be presenting to you. I'm going to show you how you can take a can of spaghetti sauce, and we're going to doctor that up, and when people taste it, they're not going to know it's a can at all, because we are going to make it fresh tasting. It's really good. I got some good ideas coming up too when I start feeling really good and I can do this. And like I said, today I've got Brenda here, and we just decided to do this Texas sheet cake. And I'm actually, after this gets done, I will show you a picture of it, but I'm going to, when it gets completely cool, I'm going to wrap that really, really good, and I'm going to stick that in the freezer because the party's not until Sunday. But since I had help today, I thought we would go ahead and do it today. So if you wrap it really good, get your cake completely cold, take cellophane and just wrap it really, really, really good, okay? And then stick it in the freezer. And I went to Walmart and I was going to buy one of their cakes. And the girl said, well, I don't have one here, but if you got a minute, I'll go get one and decorate it for you. She told me that their cakes come frozen, and they decorate them after they get them there at the store. Yeah, did you know that? And honestly, I think their cakes are pretty good at Walmart. So I'm going to go ahead, until she gets in here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on and at least get our butter going. She's trying to renege on me, or whatever that word is. But it's not going to work, because like I said, I can't afford to screw this icing in. So we got our half a cup butter, we got our 4 cups, we got this, I don't know if she uses, and we got our vanilla right here. I don't know if she uses a mixer for this, or if she uses just a plain tablespoon. So I got them both handy. We'll just decide which one she wants to use. Okay, I've got the butter going to town. And I think this icing takes effect pretty quick once you get it cooking. And like I said, we're doing the white icing on top. Now, I prefer the chocolate with the nuts, but it's not my birthday. But that's really what I would prefer. The original Texas sheet cake. I hope you guys are having a good day today. Mine started out a little rough. I had a kind of a rough night, but I got out of bed and I was blessed about that. Some people can't get out of bed, so I'm going to count my blessings. Sometimes that's just what we have to do. We get looking at the negatives so much that we forget to count our blessings. And I don't want to give the devil credit. I feel like when I'm negative about everything, I'm giving him credit. And I don't want to give him any credit. You know, talk about negative, negative, negative. That's just tickling. I feel like just tickling the devil to death. So I try to prevent from doing that stuff. Okay, I've got the butter melting. Hint, hint. You see, I'm going to stir it around. Real butter is really good to do this with because it doesn't burn easy or anything. Let's get this out and read it again. She gave me the instructions. Okay, so we're going to put the buttermilk in here now. So we're going to do the half a cup of buttermilk. Remember how I told you to make that? Didn't have any. It gets a little bit thick. Not as thick as normal buttermilk, but thicker than your regular milk. I'm going to pour that in there. We're going to incorporate that. I've screwed this all up. I need Brenda in. That was not buttermilk, that was regular milk. So that was a... You know what, I need to be on like a comedy show. America's Got Talent. I could be the cook that's got all the jokes. But actually the jokes aren't really jokes. It's a half a cup of regular milk. So, I've just poured a half a cup of regular milk in this. Or a third cup of regular milk. I don't think this is going to turn out because my person's reneging on me. So I got a half a cup of butter. I got 1/3 cup of milk. I'm going to repeat this. And the teaspoon of vanilla will go in last. We're going to put 4 cups of powdered sugar in it once it comes to a boil. Hold on, I'll be right back. I've got the stick of butter in here, and I've got the milk. Right. A half a stick of butter I've got in here. I've got the milk boiling.
Turn it off. Pour it over your powdered sugar and your vanilla.
Pour what over?
The hot mixture.
I don't pour it in the pan?
Pour it. Pour it
Well, she says to pour it over, so I got to get me a... She screwed me up terribly on this. Well, you have. Not so much for this video. I'll have to shut it off. Well, I'm going to screw this up and probably have to throw the whole thing away. Yeah, I will. I don't know how to put it on pause and start. That's the problem. Well, this video I'll probably be deleting because my helper reneged on me. But the cake's not done yet. I'm checking my cake right now. See, it's not even close to being done. Okay, my cake's not even close to being done, and I've got my sugar here. I'm going to delete this video because it didn't turn out the way I thought it would. All right, welcome back to Saturday Night Live. I got a new skit going on. It's called The Comedian and the Cook. So we're back to this darn icing. My cake, though, the good news is I can show you the cake. I got Brenda finally in here. She says she can't scrub toilets and do icing at the same time. So my sheet cake turned out good. It's a little unlevel, like I told you earlier, but it's going to work out just fine. Now what I did, oh boy, I tell you, you guys want some good entertainment tonight, forget Comedy Central. I'm taking me a dish rag and I'm putting it on my countertop because when we pour that icing over the cake, it might run over a little bit. What I did was take the 4 cups of powdered sugar and I took my whisk and I whisked it around. I didn't sift it. I just went ahead and whisked it around to get some of the lumps out of this. She is now warming a half a stick of butter, right, Brenda, and a half a cup of, or 1/3 cup milk.
Yes.
So she's got that started. I had it heated once, so I hope it didn't clabber on us.
No, it almost did, but I saved it.
It almost clabbered on us, me waiting for her to get done.
I saved it.
But she's saving it. So we're doing, like I said, the white icing today without nuts, because you know all of us are got bad teeth and everything else, it seems like, so we're going to leave the nuts out. If it was me, it'd be chocolate with nuts, but when you're cooking for someone else's birthday, you kind of like to do what they want. So my cake's been out for about 10 minutes out of the oven. When it's done, you can just kind of press down on it. You can tell that it's ready, and that's going to be done in just a minute. How long do you have to cook that when it's boiling or what?
Boil the milk and butter together.
Okay. Boil
almost
to
there.
It's almost there. It's not going to be too much longer.
it's just.
And then she's gonna pour this into this bowl, right? Instead of the pan, it's gonna go in the bowl.
Yep.
And this is gonna, I guess, stir the
And
daylights
you're gonna
out
stir
of
the
it.
daylights out of it and pour it on the cake.
Yeah.
Call it quits. I need to see 1 or 2 bubbles and we're good.
Okay, when she gets it boiling, she just lets it go 1 or 2, 3, 4 bubbles.
Because you don't want to scorch the milk.
And then we're gonna pour that in there, mix it up real good, and I guess pour it over hot and we're done, right? So,
Here we go.
it's getting ready to get poured in my 4 cups of, now you know why I didn't want to screw up on this, 4 cups powdered sugar. And I've already, you know, just don't want to risk
There
it.
it goes. Okay, we're done.
We're getting ready to pour that in there.
Well,
get over here and stir it.
No,
Yes.
no, go ahead. Okay. I'll help you clean up the mess.
Okay, I'm mixing this well.
It doesn't seem like it's enough, but it is.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be enough, but she assures me it will be. Seems like to me it's getting awful thick. Very thick. This is very thick. That ain't
You
going
got
to
your
pour.
vanilla yet?
No. Doing
You
a
know,
teaspoon of vanilla
Which
in
is,
it.
you know, in the lid.
Yeah.
The key to imitation and real vanilla is just use a little more of your imitation vanilla.
That's true. If you're using imitation vanilla, all you got to use.
Just a smidge more.
But I don't see how this is going to pour over any cake.
Okay, well,
This is thick. Very thick.
you didn't put the right amount.
Yes, I did. You said 1/3 cup. That's what I put. Is 1/3 cup.
No.
She's just adding more milk to it. I went by what she wrote down. You guys see me measure it.
It's okay.
Ugh.
Should we put it in the pan and warm it?
Here, I'm out of strength. You're going to have to do this.
I don't want to be on film. Hand it to me over here and top on there like this.
I don't think this is going to be hard at all. I don't see this firming up to be hard. I think
You
we,
don't? I do.
I think we screwed up.
No, we didn't.
Okay, she said we did not screw up, and I did put a third cup of milk in it, and my half
the
a
thing
stick
is,
of butter.
This is here. I'm going to do it in the pan like you asked me to in the beginning. Warm it up a hair, and then we're going to be ready to go. I probably should have let it boil another couple minutes.
She said she should have let it boil probably a couple more minutes,
because it wasn't quite hot enough to dissolve that. Because look at it now.
because it wasn't quite hot enough to dissolve that powdered sugar, so she's just put it right back on the stove. This is what us cooks do.
Yeah,
We figure it out.
it's going
If
to
it
be.
doesn't work, we try to make it work. And then if it don't work after that, it goes in the dump.
We've had a few flops, ain't we?
Okay, she's viciously stirring that. The ideal was to pour this over this cake and it gets hard. But I don't know. I don't have a guarantee on this one.
I do. I feel good
But
about it.
well, Brenda feels good about it. She thinks it's going to work.
Should have poured it in the pan.
We should have poured the powdered sugar in the pan like I suggested, but she wouldn't listen. That's
And I
what
didn't-
sisters are all about.
And I
I said,
didn't have it quite hot enough.
are you sure you shouldn't be putting this in the pan
I think it's
with the
done,
powdered
do you?
sugar directly in the hot?
I think it looks.
But that's the fun part of being sisters. You can argue like this.
Okay.
She thinks it's boiled. I
Show
don't
'em
think
the-
it's going to be.
Show them the texture now.
Okay, now she said this is the texture you want.
It's smooth.
It's nice and smooth.
And then
So supposedly, we're going to pour this over this cake, and it's going to get hard. I have my doubts.
it's gonna set
I
up.
can just tell by the texture of the pan on the side, but you know what? Let's see what happens. We'll just
Well,
go
you're gonna
for
have
it.
to use it anyway unless you want to add more powdered sugar. I don't think it would ever set up if that's the case. I think it will set up.
Here we go. We're going to just pour it just like this over the cake.
She's using it all just in case it don't set up. Mm-hmm.
Then we're just going to spread that over the cake, like so.
It's already setting up. Look.
She said it's already setting up. Look. So at the end of the day, she was right and I was right.
Come on.
Well, because we could have cooked it longer, and I would have poured my powdered sugar directly in the pan.
Yeah, that's what
Because once you start
I know
moving
that.
stuff around, you know what happens? It gets cool.
Yeah, and I
And when
know
it
that.
comes to this stuff, when it gets cool for a few seconds, it makes all the difference in the world. So that's okay. So we're gonna see if this sets up. It shouldn't take it long if it does. And I'll be back in a minute. And like I said, boy, we've had fun. Get your popcorn out tonight for this show. All right, we've let this cake set for a few minutes, and I do think it is going to end up setting the way we want it to. After it gets completely cool, because see, when I take my finger, it's kind of got that texture on it. So, between us both, we finally got the icing done. So next time we do one of these, it'll go quick, because we know what we're doing. Anyway, like I said, get you some popcorn, relax, turn this on, have some good laughs. And until next time, thanks for hanging in there. Have a great day. Laugh makes you healthy. Bye-bye.
Laugh does make you feel good, don't it? When you're able to laugh. Bye-bye.